What's up, guys? This is Chris from DraftDashboard.com. Here are my DFS picks for NFL Week 1 Monday Night Football. These picks apply for DraftKings and FanDuel. Before I get started, please drop a like on this video and hit that red subscribe button and hit that bell icon so you don't miss our new videos. In this video, I'm going to go over my top DFS picks for this 2-game Monday Night Football slate. You can use these picks for the 2-game slate or the single-game Showdown slates. And if you stick around to the very end of this video, we'll use the Draft Dashboard tools to make a DFS lineup using the picks we just made. Okay guys, let's take a look at this 2-game Monday night slate. So at the quarterback position, I like Ben Roethlisberger from the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the New York Giants, who had the 3rd worst defense overall last year, and they gave up the 2nd most fantasy points to opposing quarterbacks. Ben Roethlisberger, he was injured last year. He got his elbow repaired in the offseason. He's fully healed now. He's making all the throws in practice. The elbow is not a concern. He's projected at 17.9 fantasy points here tonight. He's 7,000 DraftKings salary and 1,400 more on FanDuel. Vegas thinks there's going to be 45.5 points scored in this game, and they have the Pittsburgh Steelers favored by 6. So he's got a fantastic matchup in his first game back. He's the best quarterback on the slate by far, so I'm going to pay up here. So I like Ben Roethlisberger here versus the New York Giants. Okay, let's take a look at the running back position. So the most talented running back on the slate here is Saquon Barkley from the New York Giants, but he's 8,000 DraftKings salary and 500 more on FanDuel. The Giants could fall behind, taking them a little bit out of the running game, but he still got 5.6 pass targets per game on the season last year, so he's out there whether they're ahead or behind. He's an every down back. So if you have the salary, Saquon Barkley has the most upside. But if you want to save some salary here, take a look at James Conner from the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the New York Giants, who have the 3rd worst defense overall last year, and they give up the 14th most fantasy points to opposing running backs. James Conner was averaging 15 fantasy points per game on the season last year, getting an average of 3.8 pass targets per game and 11.6 rush attempts per game. He's projected at 16 fantasy points here tonight. He's 6,400 DraftKings salary and 200 more on FanDuel. So I like James Conner here versus the New York Giants. But my favorite running back on the slate is Melvin Gordon from the Denver Broncos playing the Tennessee Titans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, and they've been middle-of-the-pack defending opposing running backs. Melvin Gordon averaged 15.6 fantasy points per game on the season, getting an average of 4.6 pass targets per game and 13.5 rush attempts per game. He scored 24 and 23 fantasy points in his last 2 games of the season last year. He got 7 pass targets in each of those games, 14 rushing attempts in the last game that he played. He's projected at 12.9 fantasy points here tonight. He's 5,100 DraftKings salary and 1,100 more on FanDuel. Now, Vegas think this is going to be a somewhat low-scoring game here. Only 41 points scored in this game, but they have the Denver Broncos trailing by 3. So this is a close game, a competitive game. So I like Melvin Gordon here versus the Tennessee Titans. Okay, let's take a look at the wide receiver position. If you've got the salary, the most talented wide receiver here on the slate is Juju Smith-Schuster. He's 7,200 DraftKings salary and 700 more on FanDuel. But if you're looking to save a little bit of salary, take a look at A.J. Brown from the Tennessee Titans playing the Denver Broncos, who have a good defense overall, and they've been good versus opposing wide receivers. But A.J. Brown averaged 14.5 fantasy points per game on the season last year, getting an average of 5.3 pass targets per game. He's on the field for 68% of the snaps, He's projected at 13.8 fantasy points here tonight. He's only 6,000 DraftKings salary and 400 more on FanDuel. So I like that FanDuel price. So I like A.J. Brown here versus the Denver Broncos. Real quick, guys, I got great news. For a limited time, we're offering a full 30-day trial to Draft Dashboard. You can try all the tools for NFL, MLB is still going, NBA is right around the corner. This is a great time to get in and try everything for 1 month. The tools are all about saving research time. You can see the last 3 games, the fantasy points per game, the targets they got per game, so you can see how involved they are in the offense, the rushes they got per game. Seeing all this stuff on one screen helps you save time and make better picks. Oh, and if you're tired of doing research every day, we just added a cheat sheet that shows hand-picked plays for the slate. No confusing stat lines, no headaches, just a simple cheat sheet that shows the absolute best players for your lineups. But if you're looking for a value play here at the wide receiver position, I think this is the best value play on the board here on this slate. It's Deontay Johnson from the Pittsburgh Steelers playing the New York Giants, who have the 3rd worst defense overall, and they give up the 4th most fantasy points to opposing wide receivers. Deontay Johnson averaged 10.3 fantasy points per game on the season last year, getting an average of 5.8 pass targets per game. He was on the field for 66% of the snaps, projected at 12 fantasy points here tonight. He scored 9, 22, and 10 fantasy points in his last 3 games, off of 7, 9, and 7 pass targets. He's only 4,400 DraftKings salary, but he's 1,700 more on FanDuel. So I love that DraftKings price. So we know Vegas thinks there's going to be 45.5 points scored in this game, with the Pittsburgh Steelers favored by 6. So I like Deontay Johnson here versus the New York Giants. Okay, let's take a look at the tight end position. So my favorite tight end, or the most talented tight end on the slate here, is Evan Ingram from the New York Giants playing the Pittsburgh Steelers, who have a good defense overall, and they were middle of the pack defending opposing tight ends. Evan Ingram averaged 14.4 fantasy points per game on the season last year, getting an average of 8.5 pass targets per game. He's projected at 10.9 fantasy points here tonight. He's 5,400 DraftKings salary and 1,100 more on FanDuel. So we know Vegas thinks that the New York Giants are going to be trailing by 6 in this game, so it could be a passing game script as they're playing from behind, and you're not paying that much more for Evan Ingram over the next highest price tight end, which is Noah Fant. You're only paying, it looks like, 800 more for Evan Ingram here on DraftKings. So I like Evan Ingram here versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. But if you are looking to save, if you need to save that 800 salary, take a look at Noah Fant from the Denver Broncos playing the Tennessee Titans, who have a middle-of-the-pack defense overall, but they gave up the 5th most fantasy points to opposing tight ends. Noah Fant was averaging 7.4 fantasy points per game on the season last year, getting an average of 4.1 targets per game, on the field for 69% of the snaps, projected at 9.5 fantasy points here tonight. He's 4,600 DraftKings salary and 1,200 more on FanDuel. So I'd probably rather just pay up for Evan Ingram if I can, almost double the average targets per game. That goes a long way. The game script's a little better for Evan Ingram, but the matchup is better for Noah Fant, and I'm guessing that the ownership will be lower as well. So I do like Noah Fant here versus the Tennessee Titans. If you want to try all these daily fantasy tools for yourself, click the link in the description below this video, or just go to draftdashboard.com. You can use our DFS lineup optimizer to build quality lineups using our picks and your own custom player pool. Click the link in the description below this video and try all these daily fantasy tools right now. Thanks so much for watching. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe to this channel and hit that bell icon so you can get instant updates whenever we post a new video. Thank you so much for watching, everyone. If you enjoyed this video, please smackety smash that like button and subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Oh, and please comment below with your favorite player for this NFL slate. I love to hear what you guys have to think. Thanks again, and good luck.